Hello, my friend. In this video, I'm going to break down how you can build a fan base on social media that actually wants to support you and your art. And so let's just jump right into this. The best way to build a fan base on social media that wants to support you and your art is to consistently release new content by combining a recurring content strategy with a content calendar. Freely giving away valuable content on a consistent basis is truly the key to building individual fan to artist relationships and is what can build momentum in your career to the point that you have a real and supportive fan base. The more that you commit to showing up, the more chances you have to catch the attention of new fans as well as deepen the connection with the fans you already have. So before diving into this a little bit deeper about how you can build a fan base on social media with a recurring content strategy and a content calendar, I wanted to let you know that I've also written an article on this topic, as you can see right here. So if you'd like to follow along, or if you prefer the written word format, you can simply Google how to build a fan base on social media, Best Friends Club, and you'll get access to this article right here, and you can follow along or read it and not hear my annoying voice. So with that said, let's keep going. So how to build a fan base on social media with recurring content. So a recurring content strategy is simply a defined structure of different content types that you release on a regular schedule. This might look something like posting performance videos on Mondays, unreleased songs on Wednesdays, and promotional content for new releases on Fridays. A content calendar simply takes the content that you've mapped out with your recurring content strategy and plots out when each piece of content should go live and where, like which social media site, on an actual calendar so that you can actually follow through on your plan. The main difference between a recurring content strategy and a content calendar is that the strategy is more high level, so the type of things that you'll post, and a content calendar is more specific, so exactly what you'll post and where. So to create a recurring content strategy, you'll want to follow these steps, and we will go into them in detail, so do not worry. First, you're going to clearly define your ultimate goal as an artist or a creative. Then you're going to look at the content that you're already creating on a daily basis. Then you're going to want to brainstorm content types or themes that you'd like to test. Then you want to look at which content types give you the best bang for your buck. And finally, you're going to want to actually create your content and map it out on a calendar. So let's take a look at these steps in closer detail so you could actually get started here. So the very first step is to clearly define your ultimate goal as an artist or creative. So by clearly defining your ultimate goal first, you'll be able to look at creating content that not only entertains an audience, but also helps you inch closer to whatever your ultimate goal is. For example, if your goal is to play live, then performance videos can help you practice your songs as well as get better at your instrument, in addition to just helping you create content. If your goal is to play live, then live jams will let anyone that sees your content know that you play live so that they actually might book you in the future. So the idea here is to pick different types of content, stuff that you might be doing anyways, and stuff that you want to practice and get better at. So that way, whenever you're making content, you're actually kind of hitting multiple targets at once, and so you never kind of feel like, oh man, I'm just wasting all this time making content. It's actually kind of helping you towards your ultimate goals regardless. It just happens. You just happen to be making content. So next, what you're going to want to do, which I kind of alluded to there, is that you're going to want to look at the content that you already might be creating. So when you're deciding what type of content you want to create, you should definitely take a moment to look at how you already spend your time creating music and any other interesting things you might do each and every day. As a creative person, you're probably already doing a lot, so you may not need to go overboard or overthink your content ideas, because you can simply focus on documenting what you're already doing instead of creating something brand new. So for example, if you're having practice rehearsals every single week, you can simply set up a camera, throw that on there, and then you're kind of doing a two birds, one stone situation again there. As opposed to having to like set up a camera and somewhere else and come up with a live jam on the spot, you can take advantage of what you're already up to. The next thing is you're going to want to brainstorm different content types or themes that you want to test. So once you have clearly defined your ultimate creative goals and you've reviewed your current creation process, all you need to do is make a kind of brainstorm a list of all the different types of content you might want to publish. So this might look like performance videos, live videos, maybe animated videos. A nice thing to do here is also look at what other creators are doing, artists that you like, bands that you like. You can look outside of music as well and get an idea of different things that you might want to put out there into the world. Again, here, a big emphasis is on the idea that themes and types of content that you want to test. This doesn't have to be the rock solid plan you're going to follow for the rest of your life, but you want to have a bunch of different ideas so you can test and see what works for your audience and what works for you to see what you can optimize and double down on in the future is. So then what you're going to want to do is look at which content types out of that list give you the best bang for your buck. So basically what you want to do here is refine your list with content types that you actually want to pursue based on what interests you, what won't burn you out when creating, and what you think your audience will actually enjoy. So again, what you're always kind of looking for here is like a 2 or 3 birds with one stone kind of situation, where it's like you're getting a lot of bang for your buck, say, out of like maybe a hour-long jam session, because you can cut that up into multiple clips, cut each song into a longer clip, and then you're kind of getting a lot of bang for your buck out of that. And then also you're practicing for a show, so you're going to do it anyways, and you're also obligating your kind of social media content push that you need to be doing as well. So the idea here is to review everything and refine your list of what you want to start testing based on what's going to give you the most bang for your buck. And then lastly, you're going to want to create your content and actually put it into a calendar. So once you have an idea of what different types of content you want to make, you can simply map out when these content types will go live and where on a calendar. And if you need help knowing which social media platform to post on and how many times you should be posting, all that kind of stuff, I do have a video about the best social media platforms for musicians that you can check out. Just remember that you'll be able to tweak your strategy, like I mentioned, as you carry it out based on how your audience reacts to your content and how much you enjoy creating different content types. So that's why you want to test out a bunch of different things, have it all mapped out and scheduled, see what people are interacting with, what they like, what they don't like. And then also remember, you got to kind of keep your own mental health in question too. So say if 1 million people love this video, but it was really hard for you to make and you don't think you can consistently make it, you're going to want to factor that in. It's not just all about the views. It's really more about making sure that you can be running a marathon as opposed to some kind of sprint. So now let's take a closer look at the actual mechanics of building a fan base, kind of a little bit of like kind of the psychology of how this is all built out. So there are some basic building blocks of building a fan base that apply regardless of whether you're using social media, digital ads, or any platform or medium. I think it's worth taking a look at here. Any effort to find an audience or grow a fan base is ultimately made up of 3 parts. 1 is the audience that you want to target, example like the listeners. 2 is your offer to that audience, so how you build trust. And 3 is the action you want that audience to take, which is where loyalty comes in. So I've kind of visualized this as something called the loyalty triangle, where you start with a bunch of listeners, you get them to trust you, and then you actually have loyal fans at the bottom. And here's kind of how it works. You can find potential listeners from places like Facebook, Instagram, and other social media platforms. Then you build trust with those listeners based on what you show them. So your music, your social media content, your ads, your music links, all that kind of stuff. And only once you've established at least some bare minimum of trust will you then get loyalty in the form of streams, merch sales, and ticket sales, or whatever it is the action that you want your fans and your audience to take. So put in another way, if you don't know where to find listeners, you can't show them your music, and if they aren't impressed with your music and content, they will never trust you enough to become a fan. You can pick and choose with where you want to find listeners, how you want to build trust, and what outcome you want to achieve in the form of loyalty. However, this cycle of finding a listener and then giving them value and building trust is ultimately repeated several times until a real artist-to-fan relationship is built. In the world of marketing, it is said that it takes 6 to 8 touch points to convert someone into a purchasing customer. And the same can be applied to building a fan base in that it can take 6 to 8 touch points in the form of your music or a piece of social media content or an ad that they might see to turn someone from a passing listener into an actual fan. And then before leaving you, I wanted to really grind on the main pitfall of building a fan base on social media, just so you kind of know what you're getting into. And really the problem is this. With most social media platforms, and the problem is this. The problem with most social media platforms is that they are consistently limiting organic reach over time in an effort to make its content creators pay for ads to reach their followers. They're trying to, make it so they can actually make money with their platform. It kind of makes sense. And a little study that I found here by Ignite Media discovered that Instagram's organic reach is currently around 9.4%. And I believe they also found that Facebook's is like under 3%. So what this means is that 9.4% of your Instagram followers are likely to ever see any of the Instagram posts that you spent so dang long putting together and posting. With that number in mind, that means if you have about 10,000 followers on Instagram, that means you can expect about 950 of them to see your post, not necessarily like it or engage with it anyway. They just might happen to scroll by it. And just because they see your post, like I mentioned, that does not mean that they will actually interact with your posts whatsoever. In fact, the average engagement rates on Instagram can range from 2% to 6%. So this means that with 10,000 Instagram followers, you can expect 950 of them to actually see your post, and then only 57 of them to potentially engage with it in some way. What you really need to be aware of is the fact that Instagram is truly Facebook's second product, with the Facebook app being the first one that they created. When Facebook first started, they were very generous with organic reach, but looking at the chart shows that organic reach for Facebook posts is now down to 2.2%. Facebook is generous with the organic reach of its app only at first to encourage creators to create content and for users to engage with that content. And you can really see that with Instagram Reels. They brought that out, kind of competing with TikTok. It's a new feature. They want you to use it. So they're being really generous with how they push it out. Over time, as people use it, they'll drop that down as well so that you'll end up doing Instagram Reel ads. So Facebook minimizes that free organic reach over time in an effort to encourage content creators like us to pay for reach using their advertising platform. So what this means is that 2.2 organic reach of Facebook posts is quite literally a peek into the future of what the organic reach of Instagram posts has in store for you. And eventually that'll be the same thing with something like TikTok as well, because they do have ambitions of being an advertising platform. And that's one way they're going to be making money. So remember that this pattern applies to not just Facebook, but any social media platform that has ambitions of profiting through ads. TikTok, Snapchat, it's going to be any social media platform eventually, really. And although it sucks that the trend is that you have to pay for your content to reach people, it is also true that Facebook ads are extremely powerful and can be used to reach people that are likely to enjoy your art far beyond your current followers count. So if you'd also like to learn a little bit about Facebook ads and how you can add a paid marketing strategy to your organic social media strategy as well, I'll link to a video above which you can check out, which is useful. I think it's ultimately the best thing that you want to do is have both an organic strategy with social media to build a fan base organically and bring eyeballs to your music organically, but it also really helps to have a paid strategy so you can do things a lot quicker and build up your stats in a lot more impressive ways, and then have them work together overall. So hopefully if you found this video useful about how to build a fan base with social media. With that said, if you did find it useful, like and subscribe and all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next video, my friend.